very important. And it was another message that was delivered to me by the person that discriminated against me. If you're not an asset, you're a liability. And that is the message that's delivered in this. The recent events regarding President Trump and his remarks on those with disabilities. So this is important because according to the CDC, they estimate that there are 70 million people, or 1 in 4 adults, that have reported to have a disability. We are going to take a look at good sources of information, starting with the horse's mouth.
We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence. And we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first.
So here's the claim, right? That it is not a merit-based system. They enacted policy to give others who may not have opportunity to work a place of employment. So that's the connection that he's making. Basically, there was an accident and policy is at fault because people who were working were inept or unable.
And now all of a sudden he's trying to blame this crash on a policy made by the previous party.
Right. Well, this is an opportunity to push an agenda.
It was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible and their politics was even worse. So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. So it was very interesting. About a week ago, almost upon entering office, I signed something last week that was an executive order, very powerful, on restoring the highest standards of air traffic controllers.
What he's going to criticize is the ADA.
Yeah.
So the ADA says you need to have equal opportunity for a specific group of people, those with disabilities, diversity, physical impairments, mental impairments, etc.
Yeah, and it even says, like, you know, people without vision, people without hearing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the FAA is doing that. Are they hiring them to be pilots? No. Like, they're hiring people with no vision to be pilots.
Right.
Obviously not. There's a
Right.
place where they can work.
As someone who has worked in management, it would be irresponsible for me to place someone who may harm themselves or others. And I'm pretty sure that those in management positions at the FAA follow a similar ethic. And that is not saying that I would not provide an opportunity. I fall into a category that he will strictly state, epileptic. Okay? So I am very much obviously biased and pro this and my position. There is reasonable accommodations that can be made. But my primary argument is that this is about opportunity, not about appeasing.
By the way, then my administration will set the highest possible bar for aviation safety. We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent, the word talent. They have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses.
God.
You can't have regular people doing that job. They won't be able to do it. But we'll restore faith in American air travel. I'll have more to say about that. I do want to.
I got to say, once they enacted that ADA, I was like, screw it. I am never getting on another flight ever again.
That's it?
Oh, yeah, I was done. I was absolutely done. I lost all faith in the FAA. From that point, it just went downhill.
Right?
That's a joke. I hope people catch that.
I hope so.
Point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. Can't. This was...
No, you make the proper accommodations for where they can work.
That's all that they want. That's all that they
There's
want.
There's more than just air traffic controllers in the FAA.
Absolutely.
So that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration. This was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, I mean, actually, their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened.
I would love to hear some type of citation or stat that would justify that claim.
Because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism qualify for the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map.
Obviously, the way that I'm behaving, if you compare this to other live streams, my behavior is different, right? And it says something important about just human nature in general. You know, that when we have skin in the game, we react differently, right? And the truth is, I shouldn't be more invested in this topic because of my condition. I should always be invested in every topic equal, right? Even without my investment. And I think that says a lot to just how we make decisions in general, is that we should keep in mind that our decisions affect more than just ourselves, and keep in mind when we're voting the other people in our lives who will be affected, even if it doesn't affect us.
The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. The FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then I came in, and I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster.
What a loser. Get him out of there. He's no winner.
Disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit.
I wonder if that's the first time in a presidential address a president has ever said bullshit. It might be. It might be a first.
It's gotta be.
Maybe we should make that a holiday.
Transportation is government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity. So I had to say that it's terrible.
Dude, I can't believe there's not like protests in the street about this. I cannot believe it.
Diversity is what this country is about.
But I'm pretty sure it's those with disability. I'm pretty sure it's their fault.
Yeah,
Too much diversity in the workforce, Zach. We got to knock it off.
that's
Seriously.
crazy.
Knock it off. Standards are dropping.
A group within the
Solar planes.
FAA, another story, determined that the workforce was too white, that they had concerted efforts to get the administration to change that and to change it immediately. This was in the Obama administration just prior to my getting there. And we took care of African Americans, Hispanic Americans. We took care of everybody at levels.
Care of black people. We took care of brown people. Everybody. We're all about inclusion. But we need to get rid of this. We need to get rid of some of this shit. I mean, there is a line. There's a line, okay? And I'm sorry, we just need to maintain a standard of excellence.
Yes, because I mean, it like you can only dilute the white so much.
Right.
Like you can have like a little bit of vanilla, kind of that pale white.
Yeah.
But if it's, if we're getting towards like
coffee with a little bit of creamer.
Yeah,
something like that,
yeah, but we don't want to get to like that caramel colored. It's like,
No.
we can't get that. That's nuts.
No, too much.
Too much.
Too much. This is obviously joking, everybody, so
I hope.
don't report the channel.
Nobody's ever seen before. It's one of the reasons I won.
What?
But they actually came out with a directive, too white. And we want the people that are competent. But now we mourn and we pray. And
He is saying,
Listen to that again.
what he's saying is the white people are competent.
Right.
That's what he just said. He said, we took care of them, but now we want competent people. And it was too white, but now we need the competent people. So just because it was too white, now we got to go back to the white.
Yeah.
Because
they failed. We gave them a shot. They fucked it up.
Yes, there's planes crashing. Oh God.
This is going to hell.
We want the people that are competent. Now we mourn and we pray and would like to ask all Americans to join me in a moment of silence as we ask God to watch over those who have lost their lives and bring comfort to the loved ones. And I just want to say, God, in this room, this has been a terrible, very short period of time. We'll get to the bottom of it.
He's not discussing that anymore. I got 4 points that I want to make in response to Trump's address regarding the ADA and diversity. So 1, believe it or not, I'm not black. I know, just really, really tan. But if I were black, how would it make you feel if your race, your racial diversity were associated with physical and mental disability? Personally, I'd be a little pissed off. 2, he mentioned those with epilepsy. Well, I am part of that group, so allow me to retort in a oh so eloquent way to this message. Go fuck yourself. 3, I have been told by family, and I quote, I wonder what you could do if you didn't have epilepsy. The ADA is not about giving unqualified individuals jobs. It is about giving people who are born with a disproportionate amount of opportunity an equal shot. These are people who just want to contribute. 4, by providing those with opportunity, it provides them with a means to contribute to society, socially and financially, for example, via taxes. The last thing anyone with a disability wants to feel is a feeling of being a burden to those around them. So that is my initial reaction.
How you just put that together, that minority races and people with disabilities were lumped together.
Yeah, I would find that really offensive. I mean, you're saying people with mental and physical disabilities are associated with being racially diverse.
It's
a horrible thing to connect. Think about the message that sends.
That he's saying that minorities are
equal to or less than, like basically that they have a disability inherent within them.
Yes.
That is what I hear, and that is horrible. It would piss me off.
That's crazy.
It is. That's what I'm surprised, and I haven't heard in the media, is what I just said, is that association between race and disability. And so that's my message. One of them.
you haven't wanted people to know you're epileptic
Oh, yeah.
because you would
It
have
has only been within the last 3 months, once I created this platform, that I have been open about it. And it's because I was discriminated against. And on that note, I will share with you something very, very important. And it was another message that was delivered to me by the person that discriminated against me. And the message that he delivered to me very much reminds me of the message delivered in these. And that is, quote unquote, if you're not an asset, you're a liability. And that is the message that's delivered in this a great deal. Because what was the message that he said in that speech, right? We shouldn't have people in here that cannot perform work because basically they'll be a liability. They aren't an asset. That is the frame of mind we're working from.